Hello everybody, and today I wanted to go over something pretty near and dear to my heart. So I'm not the richest dude in the world, obviously. I recently wanted to do something on cheap fishing reels. Yeah, I know. I don't go to the complete cheap end of the spectrum where I'm like bottom dollar, you know, those reels that you find, you know, in toy stores and whatnot. I wanted to do something different though this time. What I usually get are reels that are, that mid-grade, you know, $80, $100, enough to where you could say I spent some money on it, but you're not at that elite level yet where you're spending, you know, a few $100 on a reel. And plus, me personally, overall, going all out on a rod makes a lot more sense than going all out on a reel. So recently I busted up a reel, so I was like, you know what, let me buy one of these cheap reels I keep seeing advertised on Amazon, and let's see how it goes. The first one I got, yeah, the Berry Pro Baitcasting fishing reel with the NMB ball bearing. So pretty much Berry Pro Baitcasting reel, 10-to-1 ratio. That's what you need to know. All right, so that was the first one I got. The second one I got was the M. Peter Knight. Yeah, that's right, M. Peter Knight Baitcasting fishing reel. Once again, a 10-to-1 ratio. And the third one I got was the Saugayilang. I honestly don't know how to say this. I see it all over Amazon all the time in their cheaper product. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce the name, but that was I got that bait casting reel. I got those three reels, all of them priced right around $20 each. Okay, pretty cheap for a reel, pretty cheap. Not expecting much out of it. Let's go ahead and take a look at them. All right, so first one I got right here is, this is the Berry Pro right here. All right, and pretty much it just looked pretty basic. The only thing I really hated about it right off the rip was the handles. And let me go get the original ones because I replaced the handles on this guy. So it originally came with these metal handles right here. I'm not a fan at all of that. No. So wasn't a big fan. Like I said, it's 20 bucks. What are you gonna expect? So what I did was I took the handles off one of my broken reels that I had and put them on here. Much better, much smoother. So overall, this reel, that's the first one. Okay, second one, here's the old M. Peter. Not too bad, not too bad. Once again, right around 20 bucks. Yep. Not a bad looking design, just 20 bucks. And here's the third one. I'm really sorry for butchering the name, but Saugayilang. Yeah, maybe like a saugai, like the fish. I don't know. But this one I think had the best design out of all of them, just for purely aesthetic reasons. It looked pretty sleek with the chrome and whatnot. Handles were pretty comfortable and everything was set, you know, pretty much where you needed it to be. I didn't find any issues in the design. But how did each one of these three perform? Let's go over that. So the first one I took out was the old Berry Pro. All right, with the old Berry Pro, honestly, I had no difficulties with this. I threw on, right now I got on a little tube with actually a decently heavy weight in there. Great for bed fishing, by the way. I put on a tube with 15-pound monofilament. Did the trick. I also threw spinner on it, weightless jig on it, and honestly every single time, no issues whatsoever. I didn't bird's nest up, no issues retrieving, no issues casting. You know, it was actually pretty decent for a $20 reel. I was pretty surprised at how decent this was, so I had high expectations for the rest. So then I went on to the second choice right here. This one I threw on some 20-pound braid. First thing I noticed, I put a jig on it. It wasn't all that heavy. I can't remember what exactly I used, but gosh darn it, this thing kept just birds nesting on me like crazy every time I cast. If you didn't cast super gentle on this, it was birds nesting up. I even put the drag, I put everything all the way maxed out, turned everything up to exactly what you need to do, 100% maxed out, and that was literally the only way I could cast this thing without getting birds nested up. I was pretty upset by it, and yeah, it was just kind of a nightmare. This thing is probably never gonna see any type of use by me. 20 bucks in the gutter, but oh well, good review for you guys. Last but not least was the Saugayilang. All right, the Saugayilang, very good looking color, very good looking, you know, reel for being so cheap. But the main issue, casting and everything, I had no issues actually casting with this thing. No bird's nest, everything was pretty good to go. I had no complaints. My biggest issue that I had with this reel was the design itself ended up causing some hindrance. So what I noticed was when I'd be reeling back in and I had a little bit of slack line, line wasn't tight, I had some slack line, the line would actually catch, if you could see right here on these sharp little edges right here, more often than not. The actual functioning of the reel besides that was pretty decent, but those little sharp little edges for some reason just kept catching. For some reason, due to the design of this reel, they kept catching on, and it wasn't 100% of the time, you know, maybe about a 50-50 chance, but that's a 50-50 chance I don't want to have to deal with. So once again, on the slack line, it had a tendency to get caught up. Overall on the 3, honestly, the Berry Pro was the winner out of this Amazon cheap reel competition I did with myself. Once again, I had no issues with it whatsoever. It was, you know, performed pretty much the same as those $80 reels that I got, you know, at Bass Pro Shop and whatnot. Now the only thing that I haven't been able to test on it is the test of time. How long is this reel actually gonna last me? And that we're gonna figure out. Once again, I did catch fish on all 3 of these.
Oh, look at the size of this fish, man. It's so huge, it's bigger than my face.
Weren't the biggest and the best in the world, but I have caught fish on all 3 of those. And like I said, the Berry Pro head over heels in front of everybody. The Saugayilang, that thing honestly would have been right up there neck and neck tie if it wasn't for that design flaw. So hopefully this was educational for y'all on cheap reels. Honestly, if you can, it's just better to go expensive. But if you're fishing on a budget, like I do a lot of the time because I don't make crazy amounts of money, then that Berry Pro honestly is not a bad choice. And once again, I can't emphasize, go with a more expensive rod if you're gonna get anything expensive. The rod makes more of a difference than the reel. That's where all your action's gonna be at. That's pretty much all this craziness. And if you wanna know what type of, a squirrel jumping around up there, but if you had any questions on the rods that I was using, well, I used them all in the same rod. I tried 2 different rods out actually. So the first one was the reel that I broke on the rod, on this rod right here. This was the Abu Garcia Max Z. This is a good like mid-grade rod, you know, anywhere between 80 to 100 bucks. You can find this. It usually comes in a combo. It's a 7-foot medium heavy action, and this is a pretty good rod. I tried the reels on this rod, and then after that, I switched over to a very, very cheap rod, a rod that actually only cost me $12, which was the old Zebco Rhino right here. Now this rod is a 6'6" medium heavy action 2-piece rod, and honestly the issue with a 2-piece, if you weren't tracking, yes, 2 pieces are cheaper, but you lose so much sensitivity. You can't nearly feel as well with a 2-piece rod. You lose so much feel on a 2-piece than you do with, you know, just one full-on setup. With this rod right here, like I said, it was $12, and why on earth would I buy a $12 rod? Well, I have this little rod, and I'll show you a clip of it right here.
Yes! Oh! No! Oh, it's too good to be true. Oh, I guess 20-pound line ain't good enough. Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah, and pretty much that little tiny rod can actually pull in a salmon. I know I didn't pull the salmon in on that one, but myself and my buddies from Heroes on the Water, we went out fishing some chum salmon out in the great, amazing Puget Sound, and we caught ourselves salmon on Dock Demon. And it's crazy, that little Dock Demon rod, probably one of the strongest little rods I've ever seen in my life. And you can find them for like 10 bucks at Walmart. So if you don't have one, you're gonna have to change the reel out because the reel's garbage. But change the reel out on it and just use it. A lot of people use it for ice fishing, honestly, because it looks like an ice fishing rod, but that thing will bend over backwards. I have been in the Puget Sound, I pulled out salmon with it, I pulled out sharks with it, I pulled up flounder with it, and I pulled in largemouth bass up to 5 pounds on that thing. Trust me, that rod is actually pretty awesome for how tiny it is. You could do a lot of amazing things for only $10. So if you are fishing on a budget, hey, you know where to go. This is the Doc Demon right here. This is the one I use to pull in the sharks and the salmon that I was talking about. Not with this reel though. This little reel right here is just a reel that I threw on there for some crappie fishing, because that's what I've been using it for lately. It's just doing a little crappie jigging. A little jigging with the crappie. There's also this one, which is a little bit bigger. Once again, I use this for the old crappie dangle. And both of them run about 10 bucks. But the smaller one, this red one, more red, oh geez, money, money, money. Best little cheap investment I've ever made. 10 bucks, and I pulled in so many fish with this thing. And honestly, I don't fish it when I'm fishing seriously and I'm really trying to get anything. But if I'm bored and I throw something on there, it's just fun to pull in. I promise you. You won't regret spending 10 bucks on that thing. Anyways, hope you found that helpful. So overall with the reel, one more time, the Berry Pro was the reel of choice out of all the cheap $20 reels that you can buy on Amazon that I saw. Hopefully this was informational for you. You all have a great day. My wife's over here playing with fishing line. Artillery fishing.